Brian Evans. In recent months, Joplin residents have spoken up about their desire for this city to make its fiscal responsibility a top priority through transparency and accountability. That is what responsible businesses, corporations, and members of leadership do to ensure that their entity is being responsible with their financial resources. As Ronald Reagan once said, trust but verify, because unchecked power corrupts. Sometimes even those who have good intentions and at the onset of their careers just look at Washington, D.C. In fact, cities like Joplin are the #1 victim to fraud in America. Cities like Dixon, Illinois is a good example, with a population of 16,000 was defrauded by more than $53 million by the city's comptroller or city official who audits government accounts and certifies the expenditures. How did that happen? Trust with no verification. As unchecked power leads to temptation and ultimately corruption. Since I have limited time right now, I'm going to hit the highlights, but I'm going to dig further in subsequent meetings to address them. These issues were brought up by the Missouri State Auditor in 2015 and 2016, most of which were not fully addressed and have never been demonstrated to be addressed in any future audits. First of all, an agreement and contracts for massive amounts of money were awarded to committees with conflicts of interest and were written to benefit the developers, not the people of Joplin. Fees were also paid to developers with no apparent services being provided for those fees. The city did not adequately monitor for compliance of the developers. No deadlines were being given, nor were liquidated damages properly monitored, leaving city interests vulnerable. We, the people, cannot buy a home without an appraisal, but the Joplin Redevelopment Corporation didn't research or obtain adequate appraisals for real estate transactions for properties purchased with taxpayer money. And for a number of properties, taxpayers had to pay well more than the properties were worth. Just 5 properties that were looked at by the auditor sold at a loss of $20,000 to the taxpayer. Not to mention our city gave away Memorial Hall's parking lot, which increased the cost of repairing the dilapidated building by millions. The city didn't file for reimbursement insurance or grant claims totaling almost $32 million. If we hadn't had the audit, the taxpayers would have likely lost the $32 million. The city didn't have a change order policy in place, nor did the council approve change orders. Some expenditures were also not included in the initial bids. The city didn't establish policies for manual checks. Then the finance director responded by telling the state auditors it was for emergencies only. However, the auditor pointed out that many didn't qualify as emergencies and that the city didn't limit access to the manual plates used on the system-generated checks or on the check stock, nor did the city limit who had the ability to sign the manual checks. Purchase orders purchases were made after the date of the corresponding invoices. Food purchases were sometimes made without documentation of the business purpose or persons in attendance, as required by city policy. In 2014, the city spent $12,401 on work council session meals, and in the first 2 months of the following year of the audit, expenditures increased by more than 320%, racking up thousands of dollars per month in council meals. In addition, in 2015 and 2016, the city spent $9,154 on Christmas dinners, $30,400 on employee appreciation banquets, and the human resource specialist told auditors that they couldn't recall or provide documentation for where the prize money went for the banquet. If a business did that, someone would be immediately terminated or possible legal implications. When these extravagant expenditures came to light in the audit, the finance director told the auditors that she planned to establish a comprehensive policy regarding food purchases in the future. But no audit has been performed since, so the public is still sadly in the dark. I will have a great more coming, but I can only get through part of the audit and the budget that we have for this year. I'll save it for subsequent council meetings. Regardless, these are just a small sample or nuggets concerning the informational details that have been previously exposed by an audit. And now I am bringing to light, as it is my money, the people of Joplin's money, the taxpayers that are on the line. These are details that one would think if this council was serious about fiscal responsibility, you would take immediate action, advance a measure that would reveal if these issues are still a concern or if more haven't come forward by initiating a full and comprehensive independent audit. In the end, I know last time, Mr. Cortez, you said you've gone through line by line by line. I'm still doing that. I'm going through it. I will continue to do that. However, this council, your trust is commendable, but we have to verify. It should not be sufficient just to say we trust. As Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify is a crucial first step in ensuring the Joplin City government is doing right by our citizens, our businesses, our owners, and our taxpayers.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Thank you.
Thank you.